angels on the line. The angels on the line. The angels, the angels, the angels on the line.
The people, the people. The people, the people. Y'all, this part 2 of the Angels Online, the Generation Desegregation Experience. We got people in the studio, we got people on the line, and we got to get people what they want. And this is the episode that they wanted. This is what they wanted to hear. Now, we're going to start with the people on the line first. We're going to start with Mr. Anthony. Anthony, go ahead.
Anthony Perry?
Yo, that's you, man.
What's up? This is Anthony Perry, Eureka class of 2002, the best class ever walked through Eureka.
Oh, God.
I've been part of I was part of the Desegregation Program from 3rd grade up until I graduated. And I feel like I'm still part of the Deseg program every time I walk into a boardroom.
Okay.
I live in Miami, and y'all know me. Kids, daddy, you know what it is.
Okay. We got Mike on the line. Mike, talk to us.
Yep, Michael Oldroyd here, class of 05. Calling from New York City right now. And after growing up in California, I was glad that they had something to create, an opportunity to be exposed to diversity in rural Missouri. I think it's as good of a program as they could have done at the time. But, after having grown up in California, I feel like there's even better solutions out there. But thank you for having me.
Awesome sauce. We got LaTanya.
Hi, LaTanya Davis, Eureka High School, class of 97.
Woo!
Currently a recruitment coordinator at a university where I recruit students of color. And so I'm really excited about that.
Okay. We got Taylor.
Hi, everybody. I was class of 07 Eureka High School. I guess I'm an educator, social worker, and I appreciate the public school experience of Rockwood School District in general, but the DSEG program ultimately left a bad taste in my mouth.
Okay, we're going to go with Katie.
Hello. Katie Platt, Eureka High School, class of 03. Woo, go Wildcats. I am a senior HR manager here at a local hospital, and I am very grateful personally for the DSEG program and the influence it had in my life.
All right, we're going to go with Sable. Come on, talk to us.
Sable Owens, went to Eureka High School, class of 05. Right now, work certified medical assistant. I loved my experience in the DSEG program. I felt like...
Go ahead, ma'am.
I feel like we were all a family when we all went there.
We got Ja. Ja just joined us on the line. Ja, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Can you give us a little introduction? What class would you go there? Talk to us. Tell us something. 20 seconds.
I was class of 93, but I graduated in 96. I went to Eureka and Lafayette. I think it was an advantage. There was some advantages and disadvantages, but all over, I think it was a good idea.
Okay. What do you do now, Ja? What do you do?
I'm a BHT tech, behavior tech at Arizona State Hospital. That's what I do right now, and I'm loving that.
Okay. Okay. Ain't you an artist too, right?
Oh yeah, I also do music. I've been doing music forever. Yeah, that's right. I do music.
Don't hide your skills now. You big in St. Louis, bro. Shoot, you crazy.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm an artist on Jim's Pool Room Records. We got a lot of different types of styles, a lot of different artists on that label. Everybody should go check it out.
Jim's pool room. Okay. And then to my right, who we got over here?
Hey y'all, it's Whitney. I graduated Eureka class of '04. Go Wildcats, no matter how racist they go out there. We love y'all.
We love you.
We love you no matter what.
Good people. Good people. And you know who I am. I am Rhonda, Angel Marie Diva Ramsey. I'm Angel. Class of 2005 Eureka High School. Was out there all my life, except 8th grade. Went to Brittany Woods. Shout out to Brittany Woods Middle School. But yes, class of 05. The class of 05. Because I didn't know what Mr. Anthony was talking about, but we going to mind our business. Anywho, we going to get going. We going to have a good time. We going to talk about it. We going to be about it. The first question I'm going to ask everybody around the table, because this is what everybody wants to know. The world wants to know. Missouri wants to know. The teachers that taught us want to know. The teachers that are out there right now trying to figure out what the hell to do, they want to know. How was your experience in the Deseg program? That's why this is a Generation Desegregation Experience. And I want to start with Whitney on my right, real quick. How was your experience?
Fine.
Fine. Y'all, she said she was going to say that, you know, but y'all heard her on part one, so it's fine. And Sable, you kind of told us a little bit. Tell us real quick again, how was your experience?
Great.
So you gonna be like, wait, okay. I love it.
I loved it.
You got to get the people what y'all, we have a good time at the Angels Online. Always remember that. Katie, how was your experience going to school with individuals that were being bussed out to Eureka?
For me, I can't, my life wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for the people that I was influenced by and was able and had the pleasure to hang around at Eureka. So I can't say anything but great things.
Amen. Amen. LaTanya.
Yes. I had a very positive experience in the DSEG program. I woke up early, stayed out late, so highly involved in school. I probably wouldn't have went to college if it wasn't for it. My cheerleading coach convinced me to meet with a college rep and was like, "You're going to college?" And I was like, "We don't do that at my house. We go to work." And she was like, "No, you're going to college." And I had just positive teachers like that, which was a really good experience for me. It helped me with my transition into college, where I ended up getting my master's and becoming that teacher eventually. So it was just an all-around positive experience for myself.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can I go with Taylor? What was your experience? How was your experience?
I think mine was different because I didn't I attended private school at predominantly white schools from like preschool all the way to 7th grade. I actually asked my mom to take me out of private schools because I wanted to see more Black kids. I was sick of being like the only Black child and just seeing nothing but white people. So that curiosity arose in me like after my cousin. So I asked my mom to put me in Rockland School District. So I did. I want to be clear that I had a good time with lots of people. Like the kids were bussed in, the kids who lived out there. We moved from the city out to Eureka, so it was my actual school district. It's really just the administrators. Some of the ways the administrators dealt with some of the issues that came up, and I'm thinking about one particular hall monitor, older white male, and that just has really stuck with me all these years. So, but I did have good teachers, and I did have good relationships, and I did have a good time. It wasn't just an all-out terrible sour experience, but those bad apples.
See, people don't never know the taste that they might leave in your mouth when you meet them, no matter if it's in the stores, in the school, college, wherever it is. Treat people like you want to be treated, because all these years later, after this woman has all these credentials, she remembers that one person that she felt, was wrong in a lot of cases and situations, or didn't know how to handle situations. Thank you, Taylor. Mike, how was your experience going to school with individuals that were bussed out to Eureka, being from Cali and living in Eureka?
First of all, I'm really glad to hear so many of the positive experiences people are talking about. That's great. For me, I'm very thankful that we had something in Missouri, because a lot of my teammates playing football and running track and field were part of, were coming in from the city, and it was a big part of my life. a lot of those teammates and lifelong friends are still part of my life to this day. So I'm very thankful that we had something, and I think that obviously it was different than California. I have two different experiences, but Missouri, I'm glad that they were doing something to try and promote diversity, because it's definitely needed, and I'm glad to hear that a lot of people had a good experience with it too. So
Thank you so much. Ja, your short experience, you told us, a little glimpse of, when you graduated, you went to two
Uh,
schools or whatnot. You made it out. You still graduated. So you letting the kids know right now not to give up. Can you tell us about your short experience?
uh, I had a lot of it was like a lot of like racial experiences. You know what I mean? But it was good and bad. You know what I mean? Um, you learned a lot. You know, different cultures, people got learned from you. You know how to engage, and plus, like, this was like before like social media really was like big when I was in school. So like, we had to learn hands on. You know what I mean? And different cultures we learn, and it built things up like social media. You know what I mean? So,
Got it.
you know,
That was like 92, wasn't it? 1992.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of things are like, a lot of people out in Eureka wouldn't know anything about some of the music and our culture if we wasn't going to those schools.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? So
Yep.
we taught a lot of the students, you know what I mean, who we were or who other people were. You know, even people around the world. You know what I mean? We taught them our culture
That's
pretty
right.
much. We was like first hand teachers before the like social media and everything. But they didn't see us if it wasn't on TV. They didn't know. You
Woo!
know what I
Come
mean?
on.
We was hands on teachers about our culture.
Good, good, good. And we got Anthony. Anthony, talk to us, man. We looking at you. Talk to us in Miami. Got the flowers behind you and
Palm trees.
palm trees. Yeah,
Them
you
is palm
got me
trees.
confused 'cause we got Cody.
Hey, hey, you gotta keep it quiet. But no, I'm gonna say this. I had nothing but positive experiences in the DSEG program. Somebody who was suspended all the time, but those are mostly from my own actions. But as far as the DSEG program, I've created lifelong friends that don't look like me. Like I told you last time, we don't vote along the same political lines, but I know they love me. If even what I didn't kind of tag on last week. Even the bus rides and the fellowship and the fun that
Was
we had
popping.
just riding the bus.
Was
What?
popping on the activity bus.
We forget about that. We don't even want to talk about the activity bus because that's where I was made a man on the activity bus. So I want to just say that I had a great experience. I don't have anything negative to say about it, and I just want to salute some of our teachers too that made us feel at home every time we walked in those doors.
Mm,
Miss Grimshaw, Mr.
come on.
Grimshaw, Coach Sheldon, Coach
Oh,
Cleve,
Sheldon.
people that I have lifelong relationships with, who I still communicate with to this day. So nothing but positive vibes helped me adjust to if we want to say the real world, going to college, then going into corporate America, just how to communicate with people. I don't think I would have learned that, I don't want to say learn that, but it came natural after you were exposed to this at such an early age.
Mm. That's what I'm talking about. I see, I love that. What I'm talking about. Look at him.
Yeah,
I'm just cheesing in Miami.
MBA, multiple degrees.
Come
Yeah,
on.
Okay.
Come on.
We jealous of that
people
one
from the
boy.
streets. Go to
Look,
Bird,
you better be
Bird,
great.
Bird.
Man, man, look here. My experience was, I had a great experience. I'm piggyback off everybody said. It's culture. Like people feel like we needed to be out there. No, they needed us out there
Agreed.
because Josh said if they didn't see it on TV, they didn't know what it was. But when they get it firsthand and see what we go through, if they actually paid attention to it, because some of them, like Mike said, all he knew is just kids were coming out there. We just having a good time. We playing sports together. We do the same stuff you do. The only difference is we coming from 30 minutes away. And we got a longer ride because we got a bunch of kids on the bus, just like you got a bunch of kids on your bus. Y'all just live 2 blocks away. Whitney said, like a family. Sable said, like a family. I got friends right now to this day that are literally my family. They're my brothers and sisters. They don't look like me at all. And I think some of them came to the city just because they knew us, and they were like, "Oh well, shoot, we comfortable. We going out there because Katie, the stigmatism is like, oh my God, you go to the city, you're gonna get shot. You go to the city, and oh my God, it's so dangerous." No, we walk around the same blocks that you have. It might be more dangerous out there. We ain't doing all them drugs and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
They don't make meth in the city.
We ain't doing no meth. We ain't doing all that crazy stuff. You gotta come out here to go to a baseball game, don't you? You gotta go to see the Blues, right? So I mean, but people don't dig deep into and look at those bigger perspectives. That's why we have all these perspectives. But I had a great experience out there. Shout out to some of those teachers that I had: Kara Toomer, Miss Stevenson, Hines, everybody, the Grimshaws. All the Grimshaws, it's like 65 of them, you know what I'm saying? hell, we watch the kids be born too, I mean, my goodness. Right. But like everybody, Coach Sumner, just so many teachers, Miss Martin, it's so many, we can't even name them all, man. It's so many students. So just shout out to all of them. We gonna move forward. I want to know what were some of the biggest challenges that some of you might have faced going to a predominantly white school. Whitney, what's up? Talk to me.
I think it is code switching. I think that we go from the hood and we got to act one kind of way, and then we get to Eureka and then we have to act another kind of way. And then it's almost like going to your stepmama, to your dad's house, and him and your mama broke up. So you got one set of rules here, and then you got another set of rules here. So it's almost like trauma-based when you're a kid, because it's so many different elements that you have to consider, that you have to act on, you have to not act on. So I would absolutely say that was one of my biggest challenges, and honestly, it's still one that I deal with today, that I am comfortable being present as who I am. And I think that does have a lot to do with where I went to high school, and then college I went to WashU, so it didn't get any darker.
Okay. Sable, did you have many challenges, or? And it's okay.
No, I was quiet.
You were very quiet.
But I talked when I wanted to talk. But you don't mess with nobody. Nobody mess with you. I just did me.
That was your
personality. And hung out with everybody.
Wonderful. Anthony, what was one of your biggest challenges you faced?
I think I'm gonna agree with Whit on this, and that the code switching. But you didn't know what code switching was back then. That happens once you got educated and you made your way into different aspects of your life. But and then I also you coming from an environment where you and it's sad to say this, where you're aggressive, and then you get into an environment where it's they might talk, but it ain't about the action, right? So you have to learn how to control yourself too in those settings. I don't know what the hardest thing for me was at that time. I think being in some of, say, I'm in advanced, or what they call them back then, AP classes. And then you'll hear some kids say, "I didn't think you would know that." That was the type of shit that would kind of my skin a little bit. And I was bad as shit. So you got this AP class who just got off suspension, and then they looking at me like shit. But outside of that, I don't really have that experience where it was just horrible. Like, I had a good time. I would go back right now.
And teach them all. Teach all these kids whose parents ain't teaching them.
Man, right now, I bet it wouldn't be no colors and whites written on no bathroom stalls.
I bet wouldn't nobody be using that N-word walking down the hallway.
No.
No, baby. We got a trick for you, baby. That's gonna cost you.
Hey, all of us.
And we all coming, baby. That's why we ain't had them problems. But okay. Job, what about you, Job? What was one of the challenges that you faced, if you did? Because I know it was 92.
Like you said, I've always been a hustler, and so when I say hustle, I've always cut hair, I've always sold CDs or whatever I had to do to survive. You know what I mean?
Right.
But one of the biggest challenges nobody really speaking about is being like the rich and the poor, the separation. You know, because like we 16 years old and we going to school with them, and they come to school in Beamers and shit. That, you know, Lexuses, Beamers. You know what I mean? Just like really like stunting on us. So like to get over that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even though we was able to keep up, because they were taking their styles from us. Like we still wearing Jordans and everything. Like we still, like I said, always been a hustler. So I've always, you know, been fly. But I'm coming from the Blue Mile. I'm coming from the project.
Come on.
You know what I mean? So you know, I'm coming from the Blue Mines and I'm going all the way out there, and it's like it's a shock. You know what I mean? And I've always
Question.
felt like, oh, we going to where they always write it. You know what I mean? Like when you're wrong and they write it. You know what I mean? It was like a feeling. I don't know if everybody. This is coming from my perspective, coming from the projects, going out there, all the way, taking that hour ride out there. It's kind of like coming to America. You know what I mean? I don't know.
He ain't lying.
I mean, that's just me. You know, I'm gonna speak on some real. You know, we talking like 1990. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like, I had to bring that feel to this conversation.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
have a question.
To
Like, was it like a
piggyback, did
inferior?
John
Inf-
to piggyback
Hold on. Oh, wait a
what?
minute. He had a question right quick before you say that, Latanya.
I was
Sorry.
wondering, like, in the '90s, was it like like, did you feel inferior to like that move going out there with that,
I
what you want
mean,
to call it, with like with
I
the
mean, at that
economic?
time, because like I was actually in a race fight. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
I
Whereas like
remember
it was
that.
this cat that was riding the bus. You know, he didn't have no money. He was bummy. You know what I mean? We probably gave him some shoes a couple of times. You know what I mean? But like he had got jumped because he was picked on because you know he was looking bummy. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying it like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? But like certain instances, you know what I mean? It did kind of you did kind of feel a certain way. You know what I mean? It wasn't always fun every day, but then it was some fun. You know what I mean? You know, then you can you learn how to write your resumes and all the stuff you need to do to get, you know, and all of that. You know, you getting first hand computer knowledge from went from like, you know, Word Perfect. I remember all of that. You know what I mean? It wasn't just always just Facebook and TikTok. So,
Yeah, and I'm glad he
you
acknowledged
know,
that
we
too.
had a transition. So like we
Yeah,
had a transition from what y'all hear about to what y'all see.
Come on.
yeah, I'm glad he spoke on that because I think we all unconsciously had that inferior
Right.
like mindset because when we went out there, we felt like, all right, we going out here. They got a nice car. Our friends got cars. They got a nice house.
Mhm.
You felt like they had the perfect life until you got entrenched
Right.
into that environment and you understood that some of them were going through the same things we were going
Welcome
through.
to the Angels Online. Say that.
Yeah. But initially, like when you're thinking about I'm going to Eureka, you like, man, they got money out there. Why?
Mhm.
And then
Yes.
actually, I was so ignorant at the time. I thought white people had money,
Mhm.
right? That's what I
Hmm.
associated money with when I was young until I was exposed to people and understood that hey, they still some of them suffering just like us, and some people got it because other, they worked
Hmm.
for it or they had privileges
Generation.
that we didn't have,
Yeah.
whatever it was. But then you still had some that was living, in Shaw's Garden, who mama was still on,
Come on.
getting food stamps, and they
Come
were,
on.
they were struggling just like us. So
He
it
ain't
was it was
lying.
a great to like entrench yourself in that dynamic and understand that shit ain't always sweet, even though it could look like it on the outside, you know. So I think like he said, I'm glad he touched on that because originally, like I felt like that, like man, my friends got a nice house. But I forgot my house was nice, even though I was out north. Shit, I had
Right.
a nice bed and a
Mm-hmm.
roof. Shit, that was nice
Mm-hmm.
to us. And then you go out here and you get confused. But if you when you entrench yourself in that environment with those people, you'll learn that shit ain't always
You
what it
realize
looks like.
Oh,
they families getting divorced like a
I
mother.
Hmm.
I'm talking about house broke, living above their means, not being able to. I mean, my dad had our water shut off so many times because he wanted to live out in the middle of Wildwood. we'd have to go to my grandma's house to take showers just because you want to live in Wildwood. You know, like just because you want to put that look out there, like I'm a successful white family, when really you're living above your means and creating generational damage of debt and plenty of other things that didn't need to happen. So I'm so glad you said that, because that's so true. There were so many people, I knew friends that their parents were living that way and they looked good, but it was not the truth.
Man, that's in every community. So,
Man.
Absolutely.
Latanya, we gonna go with you. Come on, Latanya. Your biggest
Yeah,
challenges.
Jai, I'm so glad you brought that up because culture shock was easily the word to describe how I was. First of all, just the environment, just the trees on the way out there. I mean, I never seen that many trees in my life. I was just
yeah.
so shocked. And then at times, and like I said, I was involved, so I was a cheerleader and I ran track. So there were times where I had to stay out in the county instead of going home, just because of the time swap, going home and then taking the bus back out. And I would stay over, my cheerleader friend's house, and their houses were amazing. They were huge, and it was I couldn't believe it. Like I was shocked that their houses looked so different from how I lived. And
Mhm.
in a way, I'm glad it happened because it created a hunger for me to be better, to get out of the hood,
Preach.
seeing what they had. I was like, I want it too.
Mm-hmm.
And that motivated me to want more, to go to college, to have better as a result of that. I did hear also about the race fights all the time, that it would be like a myth. Like back in the day, there was a big race fight, and I didn't realize you were involved in that, Jai. But I other things I experienced was the microaggressions, the implicit bias. Can I touch your hair? Do black people blank? Is it true that black people blank? I'd hear that a lot. But another struggle I had um, as a student in the DSEG program is I would get flack from other black students because they would tell me that I act white, I speak white, my voice, how I talk. That was something I really struggled with because I would hear it all the time. I'm not black enough. I'm light skinned. So there was, that was just with my own people, something I struggled with also, which, depending on who the person is, they have to experience that as well. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
I love that. I love that.
Oh my goodness. I wanna I didn't say Mike or Katie because you guys were, y'all white school, maybe if but and Taylor lived out there. Taylor, did I ask you already what was one of your biggest challenges?
No, in my head it's really because everybody has said something that I can relate to, because I guess if I had to sum it up, like I guess my challenge was feeling out of place because we came from the south side, right? We was on the south side till I was like 12.
Uh-huh.
And when I went to my private school in elementary school, we were the ones who didn't have money. All our friends had the mansions when we was, fourth, fifth, sixth grade. Then my family, whatever, we had a family business. They came up on some money, they grew some bread, right? And we were able to move out to Eureka. So then we lived in the Legends. So then it was like flop. So then I knew, like, even though, all the black kids was getting busted from the city look like me, it was still a totally different like cultural experience, because I had a black friend come over to my house, and she was just like so wild that she thought my house was so big, and she just, basically people thought we just had money or whatever. But then at the same time, when I'm getting on the bus to go home, I had Mr. Wilson tell me that, oh, that's not your bus, because he thought I had to go back to the city when really I was on the Laidlaw and not the Atlantic Express. So it was like mind boggling. And I also, Latanya, I got the because I started off at LaSalle in 8th grade. So when I first got there, they was telling me how proper like I talked and all that stuff. I heard all that stuff, like this black white girl, she talked proper, she stay in the county. So it was a lot. It was a lot to filter through.
Yeah, it really is.
Let me say culture barriers is what I'm gonna call it, because y'all was talking about code switch, and it's crazy because, like you said, you come in the city. We lived in the Blue Mars too. You in the Blue Mars, and you're going out to the county, and like Whitney was saying, it's like everybody was saying the same thing. It's code switch, but it's like a culture barrier because it comes to question like, is that accepted out there? Can you do that, or they're not only gonna judge you? But back then, like you said, we were ignorant because we don't know no better. We don't know about judgment or what judging is and stuff like that. But like, oh, we shouldn't say that. They might think, but that's just in the back of your mind. You don't say it out loud. Be like, damn, should we say that? You know what I'm saying? That was huge. And then another one about talking white. Like me and my sister to this day, like my mom will tell you if somebody say something, she'd be like, my kids don't like being told that. Because I don't talk white. I don't give white people no disrespect, that much power over me.
Okay.
I'm an educated black female, goddamn me. The hell with that. I don't talk white. I talk like I got some sense. There's no such thing as talking white.
Right, exactly.
I can walk into a room and I belong in it. Whatever table I'm in front of,
Yes.
I belong in there.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So don't do that. I can't stand when people say, oh, white people do that. What do you mean? I like to do that too. What are you saying? Them same white people that you praise because you go to the school out there are the same ones on drugs, selling drugs, committing suicide, doing all these crazy things, DUIs, driving, drinking at 15, getting in trouble, all these things. But you still looking at people just because we from the city. You're judging us only because of color of our skin and because we coming from the city. But newsflash, some of our houses cost more than y'all's out there, no matter what they look like.
Yeah.
These brick houses gonna survive faster than your house survive. Even if it's in the legends, I don't care. So
hey, guess what? I was one of them damn. I was a hypocrite. I used to talk about people for talking white. I ain't gonna even lie. And then guess what?
he used to talk about everybody. FYI, he was a bully.
Hold on. Not just talking white. Like if that's how you talk from when you got on the bus until you got off, it was the ones that talked to me one way on the bus, and then we got in school talking another way. I was on their ass. And then guess what? Now my kids straight proper, straight up and down. God, he got a way of showing you.
They show off.
It was me, so I apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings. I know it was me. I was on your ass as soon as you got to school, man. Why you talking like that? So I apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings. I was young and ignorant.
It's all right. You know what? We older and we can acknowledge it because we got educated and we took it upon ourselves to get educated. So. Did anybody, this is just an open question. Did anybody run into situations where parents or guardians of kids mistreated them or was racist towards them or anything? I didn't.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Obviously, I am a little bit lighter than the other people in my family.
Light, bright, unite.
So my mama is chocolate. Well, she was R.I.P. mama. So when she would come to Eureka, they would be like, "Are you sure that's your mama? That's your mama, because you this light and she this dark." So I would get things like that. And then to take it even further, those are the same conversations I had to have at home because I was the only light-skinned one. So I feel like I had to be more hood, more bad, more, to be able to be accepted with my people. But then I kind of got the advantage of white people didn't think I was a threat because I was light-skinned. You know what I'm saying? So no matter how I talked, because I always talk like this, no matter how I talked, I was still more received because I am light-skinned.
Them light people.
Oh, man. I don't even want to get that conversation.
Don't do it.
LaTanya, I'm going to say this.
Right.
LaTanya,
Thank you, LaTanya.
What about you? Because LaTanya is very light-skinned as well.
Oh yeah, I'm high yellow.
Yes, you are,
In
LaTanya.
the
Shout out
winter,
to you.
my mom has to wonder. Yeah, I mean it's something that you deal with, and I think in family it's a generational thing. Just being I'm the white girl, in the family. But we could joke about it now. But I mean, it could cause some sort of light trauma, to a person that just wants to fit in.
Did that make you feel away, LaTanya?
Any parents make you feel a type of way or anything?
Right.
You mean a parent of a student at Eureka?
Oh yeah, any of the parents or guardians?
I never once had an issue with a parent. They've all been nice to me, so I've been lucky.
Awesome. Anybody have any
lucky.
issues?
It was in principles.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, so I just thought his name just flashed in my head, but yeah, I don't know. They love suspending the black boys for 180 days, and to this day, I cannot get over it. It bothers me so bad. I mean, I just feel like you just look up and you're like, where's so and so? Oh, he got suspended we know it's 180 days. Like it was never, I feel like it was never like 3 days a week, 180 days. And it's like, what do you hope to accomplish? What do you think gonna happen when a student is not in school for 6 months? Like you just setting them up for failure. So, and also, with me and Nisi, Angel, remember we got, that one time we got ISS. But basically, my first time being suspended was ISS. It was the first and only time, and it was for standing near a fight. And I just was like, these principals are really out of their mind. So I did a lot of observation. It was no culture shock. I was used to being around white people, but it was me observing how authority had all these biases that just really made my stomach turn.
I can say one thing real quick. So Taylor was saying with administration, and I can say my one time I got ISS was I was sitting in a classroom and I had a black friend in front of me, black friend behind me, and they were joking with a white boy in front of him and took his lunch and moved it. And the white kid went and told the teacher on him, and they came to me and said, "Who did it?" And I was like, "Oh, nah, I ain't, nah, you ain't put me in that. Like, I ain't telling." And so I got in school suspension, and I specifically got said by a white teacher, like, "Why wouldn't you just tell on them and get them in trouble?" No, I ain't doing that. Like, so I understand because, and even the administrative person that I was in the room with said, you can just tell on them. They're always in trouble. And I'm like, nah. Like, so it definitely went deep, and I felt it on the other side of like, those are honestly, the black people were my people more than the white people. I felt, more shunned by my own people than I felt that I was by the black individuals at Eureka. I always wanted to be at their lunch table, they're hanging out with them because, the white ones were talking about me. So, but I can say, man, from administration side point, that I definitely heard it and felt it.
So it's factual information. Baby, it's actual and factual. Oh, my bad. Come on. Hey. Okay. Everybody, we feeling good. Is everybody doing all right? Everybody okay?
See?
All right. Mike, how you doing up there, Mike?
I'm doing fantastic. Just listening to everybody and thinking this is a really good discussion.
Okay, I love you. Thank you. You be great. And make sure you bring me a shot glass from NYC whenever I see you in Florida. Okay.
All right.
So we talked about overt and passive racism last week. So does anybody want to touch on that? Experience an overt or passive racism against others, or how did you respond, or what action did you take? Well, Katie just told us about a situation that she saw herself. Taylor just gave us an example also. Anybody else have an example of overt or passive racism against somebody else that they may have seen? I remember a referee told me one time, this ain't the NBA during a basketball game.
I remember that.
And I swear to God, at the age of 36, I remember that. Because I know why you telling me that as a white man. I know because I'm crossing these girls over. Right. And I thought I was Allen Iverson. I thought I was AI. You know what I'm saying? I'm crossing them over. I'm taking them off a drill. The coach also say, spread. We already know what that means. Yes. I'm going to the basket. This isn't the NBA. What you trying to say? Mm-hmm. You know what? Well, I still watch it to this day. Okay? But that you never know. And it was all a white man. You never know what you will instill in a person, whether it's negative or positive. Mm-hmm. Like Anthony, you know what I'm saying? He was talking about all these people that talk white. But anyway. So
hey, Angel,
go ahead, talk to me.
I have a perspective from a teacher. So I taught in a school district in St. Louis County for 13 years, but in all it was 15 years. And I got a perspective from a teacher. So I remember one day at a staff meeting, they had sat us down and passed out papers. In those papers were the test scores from last year, the previous year. Mm-hmm. And I saw the achievement gap between white students and black students' test scores. And my jaw hit the floor. The achievement gap is ridiculous. It's so wide. And it made me, first I was shocked. Then I was sad. And I was thinking to myself, being the only black teacher there, I was the only black teacher in that district for the 13 years I was there, certified teacher. And I was like, what can we do in this situation? Why is this achievement gap so bad? Then I thought, well, kids are waking up early. That they got to do homework and go to sleep and get right back up to come back to school. Um, Obviously, we talk about the the financial gap that they have, the difference, and what can they do? What are they doing for these black students? The equity part, right? And that's another part that we could talk about with desegregation, that big achievement gap. What do you guys think about that?
Mm, that was
My
that was.
first thought was
Go ahead,
I
Taylor.
tracking.
actually had, sorry,
Go Taylor.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go
Mike.
ahead, Mike.
who?
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, yeah, this is something that I kind of alluded to in my intro today and even last time. And I'm not saying that this idea to create equity is the ultimate solution. I'd love to hear other people's opinions. I feel like this could always be further developed and refined and made into a perfect. But one of the things that I think would be more helpful is, like, obviously the desegregation program. I think something needs to continue to happen at Eureka still like that. But I think a long-term solution, maybe both happening at the same time, is starting at the top politically and how public schools get funding for their money. Now, I don't believe that you throw money at things to solve problems. But what I do believe in, I'm not running for president of the United States, but if I was, this would be part of my campaign, which is I would be fighting to create to get more money to all schools, and to have, like, there's accountability for actually using that money the right way, to hiring better teachers, to creating equitable opportunities. Now, obviously, if people want to still do the desegregation program, and I think that that's great, but I think that plus universal health care are two ways of creating equity long term, in my opinion. I think that diversity is extremely important. When I lived in California, I feel like our neighborhood was very diverse. It's not just white and black, but every race you can imagine. And we just went to school feeling like this love of diversity and appreciation for and respect for people's different religious beliefs, and just this really open love. And that's what I would introduce the idea of, is universal health care for everyone, so that everyone has access to universal and good health care, and then equal opportunity
In education.
in education. And that doesn't mean it always comes from the state. Right now they have if I'm not mistaken, the state divvies up how funding gets given to public schools through tax dollars. So if we can't change that, then I would, like, lobby with, like the Elon Musks of the world, or philanthropists that have money, to inject into schools and have a system of accountability to make sure that money is being spent properly, to truly make it a great opportunity for students that want to work hard and make something of themselves. So that's my 2 cents.
Mike, I love your 2 cents. Make
That
it
was
a quarter.
great, Mike.
It wasn't 2 cents, it was a quarter.
Guess what I just heard recently? That I think St. Louis City public school teachers have the lowest salaries among the teachers or educators in the state of Missouri.
Come on.
Just imagine that. So if I'm not making no money, I don't want to be here. I want to go work because I need to support my family. So now you might not have the best teachers that's teaching our kids. Then the schools, the infrastructures are horrible. And then we don't have, and I'm speaking solely to St. Louis, we don't have the corporations there that are providing taxes that feed into the schools and the environments and the communities. We don't have the opportunities for people to get jobs where they can live a decent life. If you think, and I don't know what the average is for St. Louis City households within city limits, but I bet it's probably below the national average. And now you're telling us to win in that environment like that. That's hard. When we're talking about violence, drugs, and we can't even fix that. And now you put these kids in this environment where they don't even feel safe, and then you tell them to go to school every day and be the best person that they can be. Like there's a lot more to this story than just the DSEG program that we can talk about. We can talk about the DSEG program every day, but our kids that's living in that war,
Come on.
because I still think I suffer from PTSD. I used to keep a pistol and left it at my bus stop when I got off the bus, but I went to school into a whole different environment. And you just had to imagine, like, I'm 14 with a pistol on my bus stop because I got problems down the street or next. You don't know what people going through, and then they got to come here and you tell them to do their best. They ain't worried about no fucking test. They
Come
hungry.
on, man.
Or going off on
Come
you because you
on.
ain't got no pencil. Y'all know
Like,
what I just
shit.
went
And
through.
if you can't address that part, I don't
Yeah,
give a
like-
damn about that science that you talked about.
Okay.
I don't care about the
Okay.
bugs. I don't care about the rocks. What kind of rock it is. I don't care where Pluto at. I don't
Yeah.
care. Give me a pack of noodles.
Okay.
Kids want
Man.
kids want an extra snack. You know, and if you don't know
Yeah.
about any of that, how do you expect them to focus on what you're trying to teach them? They trying to figure out we can't go to laundromat today. And my clothes gonna smell like piss tomorrow?
I just heard all these gunshots last night, and it kept me up.
I got 9-year-old
Because
told me
how
a
many kids
15-year-old got
didn't
shot
eat
by
since
his
they
house.
ate at school the prior day? Like, that's real. So now I can't wait to get the breakfast. I know a few of them that was fucking that breakfast up. Like, for real, you used to laugh like, man, why you got 4 bowls of cereal? Because motherfucker ain't 8.
Why y'all begging? Remember, like, why you begging?
Taking this to my mama.
You know what I'm saying?
So when we deal with those real issues, though, we can laugh and joke about it. But this is somebody's real life
Right
at
now.
6, at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then they turn into monsters, and you wonder why. And they 14, 15 with 100-round drums on these guns. Cause you telling me I could ain't no heat in this motherfucker, ain't no food in here. I'm outside.
My husband always say that genius is equally distributed, but opportunity is not.
Yep.
Facts.
The
Go ahead,
crazy
hit one
part
of
is
them
it
for my husband.
continues into
Girl.
they graduate from high school and we have the exact same problems within our jobs. Like I have people who are 18 years old having to take multiple buses to get to work, and they show up 3 minutes late and the manager wants to write them up. Like they don't even understand what this person has gone through to even get to work today.
Don't let it be traffic. Don't let the weather be bad.
Right.
Don't let somebody done got shot. So the police hold
Yes.
the city up. You in the city.
Yes.
And how many times we wake up in the mornings shooting on Martin Luther King and something at 7:30 a.m.
Yep.
Guess what? Everybody late. It's literally happening right
Yes.
now. 4
Yes.
kids just got killed in a car wreck at 2 a.m.
Yep.
And the
On
streets
Forest Park.
crazy.
Yep.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
this is normal.
Yes.
It is happening every
Yeah.
day, all day, like clockwork.
The crazy thing is, it's normal, but it's not. It shouldn't be.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
Like, this isn't how you should be raising your kids and telling them, hey, don't go down that street. You can get killed. But he's 6, and you having this conversation with him, like,
And it's normal for him. You normalize safety and security.
Yeah.
This is your safety and security. Hey, we can't go that. My mom said we can't go outside. We
Man.
can't go outside.
Yeah, now you wonder why they in the house playing video games all day. Shit, I know he's safe.
Okay, and sometimes how many times we look on the news and the bullets flying through 2-year-old done got shot. It literally happened with the last 2-3 months. Multiple kids getting shot in the house.
I have to say too, when I was dropping people off from like school or whatever afterwards, I remember Brandon being like, Katie, when you get to the stop sign, take a right, do not go left. And I remember thinking, why? Why does that matter if I go left or I go right? But I was so ignorant to what was going on, within the city that's like, oh, you can't turn down that street because you could get shit, like something could happen, but
That's
being
honestly
directed on
the
how to get
lesson
home.
That's honestly the lesson that teachers don't get when like if you're an education major, you don't get you do in some classes, some multicultural classes. However, every single thing that you mentioned could be a deterrent for a kid to want to learn. And those factors are things I don't feel teachers are aware of,
They're not.
or maybe want to be aware of, or know or understand. Someone said a pencil, something as simple as, why don't you have supplies? Well, I was that teacher that knew that some students didn't have supplies, so I had extra with me. I had extra food in my closet in case a student needed some. I had hair supplies in my office in case a student came with their hair undone. Like, that is the teacher that you want in that classroom, that's going to motivate those students. However, not all teachers want to do that, want to take that extra time to
Yep.
give that love and extra tender love and care that students need.
Some
Or
just want
maybe
to,
they don't know how.
and they don't know how. Or some just want to teach what they
Yeah,
going, what they're there to teach, and they don't want to go into
and
that
go
side of it.
home
They don't care about that. They don't
Hmm.
want to.
above and
I heard a
beyond.
teacher that didn't want to address it before. They like, I came here to teach. I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even want to deal with that. But you got to deal with it if you're
Yes.
dealing with these kids, because that's the only way that they're
If
gonna
you want
learn.
them to learn,
If
yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I
But
think
hey,
the word that we it's empathy.
and
Like
and
Yeah.
they're not
they lack it.
empathetic to the children and what they're going through.
Yep.
All they're worrying about is that they're getting paid. This is the curriculum. Let me teach this. Not knowing everybody don't learn the same way.
Yeah.
Everybody, going through something at home. So people just, and it's just not teachers. People just not empathetic anymore. Like
No.
what
Yeah.
people are going through in their real life, no matter what their economic situation is, right?
Yep.
Because everybody's going through something. So now you're dealing with a 5, 6, 7 year old who hungry, who not getting loved at home,
Hmm.
or it might not even be love. Mom might be and daddy might be out here working shit
Five
two
jobs.
12-hour shifts, and they only getting home at 10 p.m. to kiss you good night, and they gone for work when you wake up.
Yeah.
Because I used to walk to my bus stop 5 o'clock in the morning. Mama was already on the bus, gone to
Yep.
the post office.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I get up. You gotta you set. How old were we? 7, 8, and now you
Hmm.
catching your bus 5 o'clock at Wallbridge Elementary
Okay.
before the war. And, like it's a lot. Who knows what we suffer from things that we've been through. But overall, I think it was a great situation. But you don't think about those
Yeah.
aspects of what these kids, families are going through, and then we not doing anything about it. It's getting worse in the city. And
Hmm.
I'm not even there, but everybody else is there and I can see it.
You know what a lot of people will say? They be like, "Oh, I feel so sorry for them." That's sympathy. I don't need sympathy.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
empathize, you understand.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
recognize what the problem is. You trying to figure out a way to solve it or whatnot.
Be a part
It's a
of the
difference between
solution.
empathy and sympathy. I don't need you crying talking about you feel sorry for me, talking about some, but I need you to go and open that book.
Yeah, okay.
Nah, bro, I need you to really understand.
Yep.
Because if you really understand, you're gonna say, close that book.
Right.
Let's figure out, let's get to the root cause of this problem. Let's see what's going on. How can I motivate you to learn?
Yeah.
How can I help you? What can I do?
Break down the barriers. that they
Sometimes.
have.
Well, Angel, I'm glad you said that.
Go ahead.
The motivate you to learn, but I know, like, the achievement gap alone, you can talk about that for hours. So I was like, I don't want to. I know this conversation is a lot of different places that it can go, but when you said something about passive and overt racism, one of my first thoughts was tracking. I mean, like, tracking is a thing, like, where students, like, they are categorized, like, as general population, as like, IEP, individualized education plan, or gifted, and basically once you get on one of those tracks, you pretty much stay there. So I remember I was very put off by I feel like Black males were disproportionately represented in those IEP classes. There was something that was mind boggling. And that's not to say that, obviously there's a process, there's testing, but I felt like going along with, just assumptions that people make. I also think that teachers obviously play a role with their expectations, whether they don't think that a student can learn, or, if they can achieve, and they treat them, those beliefs and thoughts that you have about a student, they will manifest in different ways. And
Yep.
I think that some of that obviously influences why you see certain students in this class or that class. And I know I came in ahead of people in the 8th grade, and I had to fight to get back into honors classes. Like, I actually had to put up a fight. They're like, "Oh yeah, you are supposed to be in honors." I'm like, "Yeah," and it's like, "Dang it, but I didn't say nothing. Mama didn't say nothing. I guess y'all would have put me in general population." I mean, which is fine,
Hmm.
but it's just like, how many students didn't really need to be in IEP classes? How many students really should have been in an honors class? Like, those are questions you have to ask. So I think those biases play into, like, the achievement gap too. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
sat in a meeting where a teacher literally said the only reason they have good grades is because so they can participate in sports.
Like I literally sat there and watched the teacher say that. And I said to myself, I feel sorry for her students that she's all had all those years. I feel
Mhm.
sorry for anyone that associates with this person because if you automatically feel that way, then you're not giving anything extra for those students that need that extra individualized attention.
You know
And you
what
know,
though? I
sad,
feel like wait, Ray. I feel
you
like
know,
do you all think that we deseg our kids even though we know how this experience made us feel for better or for worse? Because Sable and I were just talking, her daughter's in Rockwood too, right?
Yeah.
And then my son, he's a senior at SLU High School, which is over predominantly white. My kids, my little kids are in a predominantly white school district. And knowing that, whatever happened at Eureka, I still feel like they have to be in those environments in order to have uh any chance of survival, any chance of being great, because we can't be good. We have to be great. We have to be the best at everything. And it's unfair for them to feel this stress on top of, like Angel said, kids getting killed, all the other things that are going on. So my question is just like, do you all feel like that? Like, do we still feel like, oh, we have to put our kids in these situations, even though, it's traumatic not to see anybody that looks like me, or like Angel said, people that can relate to me? Like, do y'all agree or not agree?
I,
I think it can go multiple ways. You know what I'm saying? You want them to learn like we did, and we fought that, and we overcame that. Put me in that. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm raising mine, now you finna go to school out here, and you gonna learn just like I did. You know what I'm saying? Like Ray, he got his kids. They in a diverse, they in it. But them two kids, they can go stand on their own 10 toes. You know what I'm saying? Because look who they daddy is. I'm gonna put my kids in that situation, and you gonna learn how to fight for what you believe in and what you deserve.
yes, I think so. My perspective, right? I'm going to always make sure that my kids are in a diverse school because I want them to be able to communicate. I want them to be able to understand other people's cultures. That's just me. Like they need to be in a diverse environment. But as a parent, I'm gonna make sure you in the best schools. When I get on their ass, I put you in the best schools with the best food and the best looking women. I got 3 boys. That's what I tell them. Because my expectations are already high. Like I put you in all the best situations not to fail. Now, there's 2 things I want to touch on here. With what's that Tanya that was talking about the teachers? I think the teachers are the second most important people in a child's life outside of their parents, right?
Yep.
But I don't want to go at the teachers. I want to go. A lot of this shit that we deal with start in the house. So I want to make sure that we giving our kids that proper time and loving and nurturing and discipline to understand that everything ain't gonna go the way you want it to, and you will get your ass whooped if you don't follow these. But I love you. You are amazing. You have to feed them all that. But we need teachers that damn near need to be the compounding factor on that feed our kids that same type of love and discipline that they want to see them win. Some people just want your kids to pass and get the fuck out of my class, right? Get him out of here. He's bad. And you like, how he passed? He wasn't even in class that. And then back to Whitney question, like and it's just me, like, yeah, I want to put them in that diverse environment. Like I feel the need to because I feel like I know what they need to win in this world. And it ain't being around people that look like you 100% of the time. That's not what it looks like. If you want to go and get a job and win out here, you have to learn how to deal, associate, and sometimes kiss ass to people that you might not like to get where you want to get in life. That's the reality of it,
That's
right?
life. That's
So
life.
I want to make sure I'm putting them in the right positions to win and being an active parent. You no matter what, I'm out here busting my ass, but I'm at every track meet. You need help with homework from day one. And I guarantee you, I don't know what they're gonna do as adults, but the rest of my life, I'm gonna always be able to kick my kids' ass. That's how I feel. You can be 35. If I feel like you wrong, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you. And we'll deal with the
Hey,
consequences.
keep it funky.
That's just how, but that's the level of respect and healthy fear that your kids should
Yes.
have of you, making sure that
Yes.
Where there's no
you
fear, there's no respect. Come on.
Yes. And
And
kids
it
are
and it,
lacking that
and it
these
don't
And
mean
that's
days.
what
a
Jesus
bad
said.
way. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
like kids will never be the kids that come in class and disrespect their teachers. Like never.
Mm-mm.
Because guess what? If I do this and they make that phone call,
It's over.
it's gonna be hell to
The
tell.
captain, baby. Woo!
Heck no. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yeah, my daddy said. You know. So a lot of this starts at home, and a lot of issues that we're dealing with starts at home. And that, I think that's going away from our DSEG program thing. But a lot of issues, start at home, and then we need our teachers to, come in and feed that energy that a good and healthy parent is feeding their kids. And then, St. Louis got its own issues. It's dealing with
Man.
being segregated, no financial funding for our schools,
Right.
teachers not underpaid, violence. Hell, we can keep going, but you gotta.
I
It's
don't
so crazy. It's almost like you gotta work to get out.
I don't think it goes away from it because my question I was going to ask everybody was, do you think that having more representation at the school would help African American students feel more seen? Like Latanya said, for 13 years, she was the only African American teacher there. For 13 years
in
in
the
that school district.
in the district.
In the district. That's a long time
That's disgusting.
for all these kids to come through. And this lady is the only lady
That
to
look
sit
like
at the
them.
board member table or sit at the table and even have be able to back up these kids. So if they had more representation, for example, hiring more black teachers, administrative staff members, coaches, do you feel? I think it'll make a big difference.
Huge difference. And I can say
Oh,
that
yeah.
from an HR perspective. We were actually talking about this like
Mhm.
before it started. Like, there are so many times where I watch and I'm like, wait, why that person deserves a seat at the table. They are just or more qualified, but
Mhm.
yet I'm watching my white counterparts choose a white person because maybe that's who they're more comfortable with, or that's who looks like them, or whatever it may be. And so there has, got to be, those voices and that difference at every table. It should look, different at every table, but giving the opportunities to people is the biggest key. And I think that the DSEG program is unfortunate yet fortunate with, obviously, as everybody's talking about, it had its pros and its cons, but it did prepare people, to be able to step out and at least know how to communicate and how to have those conversations. And I applaud you, Anthony. You are so right. Like, it does start in the home. It really, really does. And you can make that difference in your child's life. So more power to you. I love it.
Yeah, and I think to piggyback off what you're saying, that goes to leadership, right? Especially when we talk
Yes.
about administration and everything, they have to set the tone and set the culture and
Yep.
want to have a diverse workforce. For example, ignorant or not, if I'm going to see a counselor, a therapist, whatever we want to call them now, psychologist, I want to talk to somebody who I think can relate to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
More
Yep.
really, that's somebody that kind of maybe look like me or from an environment in which I'm from, right? So even as our kids step into these buildings and are going to learn every day, you'll feel more comfortable if you see more people that kind of look like you. Maybe not everybody, but hey, here go Miss Toomer, Miss Williams, Miss whoever, not just one though, because we
Right.
only
Okay.
have one or two. Like if you at least 25%,
Yes.
diverse workforce when we talking about Rockwood School District, because
Yes.
we know that your workforce and your job will look like the community in which it operates in, right? So we get that. But you still need a more diverse leadership team, and that starts at the head, right?
Yep.
So your administration, your superintendent, that has to be something in place to promote and to recruit minorities into your workforce.
Yes.
Oh God, look at God. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Amen.
Yes, he will.
Hey, boy, he didn't got me out of some situations.
For sure.
So okay. I just got a couple more questions here. I want to read this in the middle though. A viewer said, I asked a viewer from Eureka how they felt about the DSEG. Their answer was the only impact that busing kids in from the city was that it brought a lot of kids who became friends and one who is essentially family now into my world that I likely would never have met.
Man,
So
Another
true.
one stated, I did not realize what DSEG was at the time. However, I do appreciate what it allowed me to do. I have lifelong friendships that were created. I grew up hearing, seeing of different culture, norm, fashion, activities, language that I otherwise would have no access to. Job mentioned that earlier when he was talking about music and everything else, the culture.
Yeah.
Some were good and others a child should never hear or see at a young age. But welcome to our life, being in the city. This is what we see. So this is real life. This person said this, and he hadn't even heard an episode yet.
But you wanna know what?
Hold on. Let me finish reading this right quick. The beauty I see at my age is an acceptance to let people be who they are. Religion, sex, color, food, they eat, clothes, car. I don't think I would have this philosophy if not for seeing or being submerged in a different norm rather than just like me. From kindergarten on up, it was my norm, so I knew no different. I look for this in schools to make sure my kids will experience something similar.
No, that's right.
And we just hit on that as well. Katie's got to get out of here. Katie, give us a good people.
Good people. Good people. I'm out.
Right, me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's my language. All right, so I want to ask this real quick. Does anybody feel that that their experience shaped them differently than they had hoped? We're going to add more to this. Do you feel as if you would have fared better in a school where your culture was more focal or celebrated or understood? AKA kind of like people who wish they went to a HBCU instead of a streamlined university. So,
Me?
no, I'm just,
Oh.
do y'all understand what I just asked?
Yeah, I think when you're pushing it when you get to college, right? I
Right.
think at that point you kind of.
I'm just kind of using an example so people understand what the kind of question I'm asking.
You want to go to an HBCU, you probably wanted to go there to turn up.
Or you wanted to be around your people because you have been submerged around people. So this is how I feel, and this is the conversation I had with my son when he started at SLU. He hated it for obvious reasons. However, I had to explain to him that just hearing the name SLU High School sets you above and beyond. Like, people are flabbergasted when I tell them my son is finna graduate from SLU. So I think that, and I wanted him to go to a HBCU because, like you said, Ray, in your mind, white people had all the money. Only white people had money. So for me, for him to be there at SLU and then, learn how to maneuver in these situations, how to the Bomarito people go to school with him, like to be in those atmospheres. But then I wanted him to be around people that looked like him that were equally as successful. So he could be around them and then be like, well, damn, okay, now I see. So I feel you, Ray, a little bit.
I totally agree. And I was being a little facetious in that too, because we know like North Carolina, Spelman, we know what those schools are, right? Hampton University, for the people who don't know. Esteemed HBCU schools. I think to go back to your question, I think, what was the question? Did it make you a better person, or would you be
did it shape them? Does anyone feel as if their experience shaped them differently than they had hoped? Do you feel as if you would have fared better in a school where your culture was more focal and celebrated? City or county?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't think it affected me in a bad way, right? I think I turned out to be exactly who I was supposed to be, but I think DSEG program helped me from the environment and what I was and the choices that I was making. I didn't think about going to college. People didn't. I was in AP classes, but I wasn't thinking about going to college until my coach told me I was being recruited, right? And then now I'm like, shit, I can go to college. I'm going to play football. I was going to play football. So, it wasn't about the degree per se, but then, as I say, school comes easy to some people, no matter what environment. I could pass a class, right? Might not retain it, but I can pass the class.
Right.
So, I get to college, then I end up going to grad school or whatnot. But I think it molded me into the person, advantageously into the person that I am today, just simply because, the education level was a lot better than it was. And I can only compare this to the city of St. Louis public school system. So you busing us from St. Louis to Rockwood, which at that time was the best public school system in the Missouri at the time. You got to think about what that did for you. I mean, the knowledge you learned, just education in itself.
Learning was great for me. I mean,
agreed.
everything, just books, teachers, whatever it is, right? They hire the best, they paying the most. So the best teachers want to come. And then now you get set into the real world and you already got a step, you're a step ahead of everybody else, that come from the environment and what you are, you go back to and fall asleep and raised in. So, I think advantageously it helped me and molded me into a better person. I don't, like I said, I don't know. It might be some bad shit in me that came from it. I just don't know it, right? Because I don't pay attention to it. So
exactly. Because this is our last question. Anybody else got something to add to that?
I would say for being shaped differently, like we lived in Blue Mine Project, so we would have went to Vashon High School, which there was rumored that there were lots of fights, and I was afraid of that because I'm a lover, not a fighter, and I was definitely scared to do that. And so going to my mom signing us all up in the DSEG program, it was a smooth transition for me, like going from there to a PWI. It was almost the same thing, the same experience that I had out in college. I had professors that were there for me and convinced me to stay and get my master's, which I did. And I had a student at the university where I work now, same university, he told me that he was happy he didn't go to an HBCU because he would have been just a number. And here at the PWI, he has the opportunity to stand out and take advantage of the opportunities that are for our students of color out here. And, I feel like I missed out on that by not going to an HBCU. Going looking at games and different things like that. I kind of wanted a piece of that. So I kind of feel like I missed out on that. But I'm glad obviously the angle that I went because, it made me who I am today. But, I just feel like it might have been a little miss out on that.
Wow. So that was my last question. And I'm going to tell you, I ain't miss out on nothing because whatever I wanted to do, I did it. Lord. And it was what I was supposed to do. And I'm still doing it right now because you got to give people what they want. Hey, everybody, look, that's our show, y'all. We can keep going. We can go all day if you have not noticed and not recognized. But we're going to have everybody give a good people because we have the time. We got things to do and nobody to see. So, hey, Anthony, can you give me a good people?
Good people, good people. Oh, let me get a drink.
John, can you give me a good people?
Good people, good people.
Latanya, can I get a good people?
Good people. Be kind, y'all.
Hey, Mike, where you at? Can you get a good people?
For sure. And I want to give a shout out to my teammates on this podcast, Rhonda and Anthony Perry, track and field and football. Very thankful for our time together. So good people. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I truly enjoy what he
Taylor, can we get a good people, Taylor?
Good people.
There's Taylor, guys. There goes Sable. Come on, Sable.
Good people.
See, look, I wasn't even going to be good people.
When you give a good people.
Good people.
Woo! And you know I'm going to end it, baby. Good people. You got to get a people what they want. Woo!
Good job, good show.
Be great. Good people.
Good people. Go people.